listening to the Narrative Podcast with Halsey Allen. The Narrative Podcast is changing the narrative one episode at
a time. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Narrative Podcast. The Narrative Podcast is the home of original people positivity. The Narrative Podcast changes the narrative of how original people are perceived by destroying negative stereotypes about our people and our culture. And I'm your host, Halsey Allen. Welcome to another episode of the Narrative Podcast. Welcome all my narrators. Welcome anybody new that may be tuning in just now or just now getting up with my programming. All my narrators, they already know the demonstration. They already know what my platform is about. But I'm going to give a brief synopsis about, what my content is about for all new people and, tell you about what I intend to achieve in this space that I'm occupying. So let's start at the top. The narrative. I called my podcast the Narrative Podcast because I believe the media weaves a false narrative about original people and original culture. I'll get to the original part in just a second. Basically, they portray us in a negative light, and they keep on perpetuating and incentivizing, negative stereotypes about our people and our culture. Meanwhile, you don't ever hear or see positive things, going on in our community or, our people. So they're always, just showing us at our worst. And I decided to design a platform where I'm showing us at our best, providing positive frames of reference about our people and our culture. And, destroying and dismissing all these negative stereotypes about us, all this propaganda about us, just basically telling our story how we really are as opposed to how they portray and project that we are via the media and via social media. So my ultimate goal is for my listening audience to understand the importance of, polarity, how polarizing that the media is, and to use it in a constructive manner. Basically, the power of uploading positive content on whatever platform you're on. That's the ultimate takeaway I want my listening audience to get from my content. My people, posting positive things on, social media or whatever platform that you occupy. Because these days, your carbon footprint that you leave online is a representation of you. So just imagine if you're, always posting negative things online, people are going to associate you with negativity. So if we're always posting gun culture, drug culture, thought culture, pimp culture, whore culture, violence culture, just all these negative stereotypical things that they believe about us and our people, our culture and our people. If we constantly feed into that by posting it online, that's, will be the broad, general perception of us from people outside of our culture. Because the only frames of reference they have about us, is negative ones. So like a whole lot of them, they don't know original people. They don't like lived around us, went to school with us, had conversation with us. The only thing they know of us is what they see and what they hear. So like what they see on television, online, news documentaries, it's all negative. Television shows, commercials, advertisements, all negative. Uh, Music, same thing, all negative in the music. And it's all done to, basically sell news and to, help dominant society maintain their socioeconomic stronghold they have over the rest of the populace. So it helps, keep them at the top of the food chain by, portraying us in a negative light and making us appear to be something that we're not. So I've already talked about redlining. I've already talked about blockbusting on my platform. These are like, divisive tools that they use to, portray us in a certain light, and it works. So like this is why, you get treated differently from foreign shop owners because they're going off, the frames of reference they have about our people. It still doesn't give them the license to treat us like that, but that's why they do it. That's all the frames of reference they have about us. That's how, they're programmed to respond to us and speak to us and interact with us. It's based on these negative frames of reference about us. Same thing with law enforcement. Same thing with all these institutions that bar us out and keep us out. So, ultimately, we need our own communities and we need, just to be isolated to ourselves. But until that day happens, we got to put out those positive frames of reference about our people as much as possible. And that's my goal I try to, accomplish here on my digital space, on my podcast platform. Matter of fact, my tagline is the Narrator Podcast, changing the narrative one episode at a time by destroying negative stereotypes about original people and original culture. Now, getting to the original. On my platform, I refer to, my people as original as often as possible as opposed to black. And the issue I have with the word black is the way that it's been translated into, the English language, the way how they've flipped the narrative on that, how they've made it mean something evil and, degenerate. And it resides in our subconscious. Like, our people was on this planet like 5,000 years before everybody. So when we, pretty much ruled the earth, in our civilization, black meant something, prominent, something powerful, something impactful, something that reflected opulence, something that reflected, a sense of being regal. But, the powers that be, they took and corrupted that word and made it mean something negative. When they created the, dictionary, when you go to any dictionary at Thesaurus, you look up the word black and you will see, and it's the only color denoting origin. It'd be like, usually along the lines of original Aboriginal people descending or, who have ancestry in Africa. Like only color denoting origin in the dictionary. Look it up. And then after that, it goes into all these negative words and negative example sentences describing like how to use the word black. like black desolate, black gloomy, black unpleasant. You know what I mean? Just all these like little misnomers about the word black. So basically, they're trying to program us and condition us into like rejecting our blackness, and to a certain capacity, it has worked over time. Because if you look at, our people here, especially here in the States, but abroad as well, um, look at the state that we're in. Now, I also believe on my platform about the power of words, and like I said, once upon a time ago, in early civilization, in early times, black meant something positive, but the powers that be flipped it and made it mean something negative, and that negativity like resides in our subconscious. So as the way we use it, and the English spoken language and written language, it kind of, in my opinion, it triggers something, it activates something. It's like speaking a curse over us basically when we're saying it. So even though we have like divine knowledge of self, even though we know, without anybody teaching us, black means something positive, it's been ingrained into us to mean something negative. So not just, in school, in the media, in commercial ads, and like all forms of media, like best example I can give is like animated cartoons. Black is often just associated with something, bad and negative, and resides in your subconscious, and you physically manifest it, and like you can look at the examples of it, the poverty, the violence, the deplorable manner in which we, treat each other. But, in the same dictionary, you can look up the word original, and there's no negative connotation surrounding the word original. And I think the word original is more indicative to our people, because we were here, we were the first ones in creation. Our existence on this planet predates the Bible. It predates the Quran. It predates all religious tracts. We were the first. That's what original means, the first. How they got it in the dictionary, black means, it symbolizes like sickness and death and the end of all things. We're anything but sick, death, and dying, and ending. Like we started civilization. We originated civilization. We were here first. We didn't crawl out of no primordial ooze. We didn't evolve from simians, monkeys, chimpanzees, apes, or gorillas. We was fully sentient, standing erect, using tools, speaking a dialect, a language, writing. Wasn't nothing primitive about us. We was already advanced. We wasn't coming out. We wasn't dwelling in caves. We had architecture. We didn't have no cranial overbite. Wasn't dragging our knuckles. That was some other people, not us. So I believe, original is a more appropriate word to describe us as a people as opposed to the word black. And I often will refer to us as original people as often as possible. Again, if you like saying black, if you're comfortable saying black, I get it, nothing wrong with it. I just think, the word original is more suiting to us, and it's also a more inclusive term because there are so many of us descending from so many parts of the world. It's also, a term that unifies us and binds us as one because, you got so many different types of us. And contrary to all unpopular belief, we were the original people on the planet. We're scattered all throughout the world, and we did not get through all these different parts of the world via slavery, via the transatlantic slave trade, via chattel slavery. We didn't get there like that. We were just already indigenously located in various spots of the world. Like we was already here in the Americas. We was already the original natives here in America. We was already the original Spaniards, in Latin America. So we was already original everything. In parts of Europe, we was already originally there. So we was original Germans, like, whatever type of ethnicity, we was already originally that. Everybody else descended from us. Everybody else is the Ish people. We're the original copy. Like, anytime when there's an ish at the end of something, that means kind of, sort of, maybe. What time you coming to the party? 3-ish. You might get there like a quarter till 3, quarter after 3, but definitely not 3. Like everybody, they got the ish at the end of it, kind of, sort of. Not the original copy. We're the original copy. But that's my theory behind using the word original. I think I already briefed you on, my format, like what I'm achieving, hoping to, or attempting to achieve with my platform. Another thing is time sensitive. When I first began podcasting, throughout my podcast journey, when I first started, I used to just hit play and just go, just start talking. And I had to take a step back and just look at my content. And I was like, what am I trying to do? What am I trying to accomplish in this space? What am I saying? Because I would just talk and talk and talk and talk, and no real, starting and stopping point. So what I did is just construct a format for myself, divvied up my podcast into sections, and gave each section speaking points. So in doing that, helped me with my time management. And so another thing I'm trying to do is make my content digestible, relatable. I don't want, just to be a glorified rant. I want you to actually, have my content resonate with you, and you can access it at any time of the day. Like if you miss an episode, you don't have to clear your whole schedule to catch up. So basically I want to just be brief and to the point, hit all my speaking points, and have the knowledge culminate with you and resonate with you, culminate within you and resonate with you, and just have my content be digestible and not way over people's heads and just not super duper far out. Because this is what my platform is designed for. It's about the people, specifically my people. Like anybody from any different background is, more than free to listen to my podcast, but all the content on it is directly aimed at my people, because my people are the ones with the, the problem with identity. Like, not saying we don't know ourselves, it's just the way we're being portrayed by the media. the way we're being vilified. So, on my platform, I'm trying to rectify that wrong by telling our stories accurately, putting us in the space where we can be dignified, where, our self-esteem goes up, because I'm showcasing, highlighting us at our best. I'm sharing stories about, leadership, family structure, coming together as a community, unity, having a sense of community, and that's just basically what I'm trying to do on my platform is edify and uplift us, not tear us down, and not berate or belittle us. We get enough of that from other people outside of our culture. I do, however, tell the truth. So if it's like one of us doing something in the eye of the public that's making us all look bad, I will call it out. But other than that, I don't do no name calling. I don't do no mudslinging. I try not to, engage in gossip. I don't subscribe to gossip. I don't promote gossip. But if I do speak on like a current event or a hot button issue, I'm just unpacking it from our perspective, what that means for us as a people, and not feeding into it. I might do some name dropping just to basically to cement a point that I'm trying to make. But other than that, I stay far away from gossip, far away from rumors. You know what I mean? So I think I broke that down quite nicely for you. What my podcast is about. You get the gist of my formats. And I'm about to dive into the content momentarily. Just want to say, during the week I usually do lives. I didn't do a live this week. Because like I said, if you was listening to me on my last, broadcast, I said I potentially might not go live this week. And I didn't because I was working on some other stuff, trying to get a merch line going, just brainstorming ideas, cleared my schedule just to brainstorm some ideas, working with patterns, working with fabrics. I think I decided to go the way of online because I had an online shop and I had a whole bunch of designs up there, patterns up there online, and well, I guess like I started going super hard in the paint on my podcast, and I wasn't really marketing my stuff, and so like all them designs I came up with just gone. So now I gotta basically go from scratch, redesign everything, plus some podcast merch to get my store back active. So that's what I've been doing. That's what I did while I wasn't online for a live broadcast like I usually am. So I'm doing some stuff. My goal is to be at the mock-up level by the end of the week, and then have all my merch up in my store. Hope with the deadline of the end of this month. So I'll probably be having some, some stuff for you guys to get to purchase. But yeah, I had some super dope merch. Was real proud of the stuff that I had, but now all that stuff is gone. That's the drop shipping game. But fortunately for me, that I backed up all my designs, original designs, and so it's just a matter of re-uploading them and having them do the mock-ups. But I'm also trying to come up with some new prints and new design patterns as well. So that's what I was doing in the time off, and drafting a new book. I already wrote a book. That was my last year goal to get that out. I got that, so I'm drafting book number 2, poetry book number 2. I got a title and everything, so I'm compiling, all the poems for it. I already got the concept. So basically, I'm at the manuscript phase of that for book number 2. So my goal is to have that done by the end of April. Book number 2 be done by the end of April. Have it published on the same platform. I got book number 1. So yeah, that's what I've been doing, and I also been eyeballing equipment to try to make this transition from audio to video to start doing my YouTubes and whatnot. Looking at photo editing and all that good jazz. And I know people be like, "Oh, don't take all that. All you gotta do is just pull your phone out and just do what you do." But I'm strategizing is my point. But anyway, here we go, off to my content. So up first here on the Narrator Podcast, section number 1, very first section of the Narrator Podcast is the contest section. In this section, promotional section. In this section, what I'm doing is giving original people, business owners, the opportunity to promote their businesses, sell their products, business product or service, by giving them free promotion here on my platform. All they have to do is reach out to me, whatever they're trying to sell, if they need help endorsing their business, product or service, just hit me up, Halsey Allen at passionwebmail@poeticpassion.host. Subject bar, type promo. Body of the email, tell me like everything you want me to know about your business, product, or service. Things to include is like your tagline, if you have a tagline, specifics, like if you got a brick and mortar location, tell me, the directions, hours of operation. If your business is online, everything they need to know about, purchasing online about your business, anything that the customer needs to know when ordering from you online. Also include a little bit about yourself. Your background in it, your educational background, how you came up with the idea, be, transparent as possible. So the more specific you are, the better I can, give you a proper introduction to the world. And again, like, I'm doing this 110% for free. I'm not asking for nothing. And the reason why I'm doing it is to, do my part to help circulate the original people dollar in the original people community. While we are due reparations, until we get it, it's our duty to support each other. So, like, it's our duty to patronize each other. It's our duty to advertise each other so that we know about it. Like, employ group economics until, we all got a little piece of the American pie. It's our duty to promote each other. It's our duty to patronize each other. Like, until we actually get, what we're due, which is reparations, it's our duty to, support one another. So that's what I'm doing in that section is supporting, our people by providing a free service for them. So, they can expand their business, they can attract new clientele, um, hire more of their own, do community outreach, do for the community that they're rooted in, and things of that nature. Supply everything, we're lacking through their business and leave something for future generations. Real quick side tangent, since I brought up reparations, I just got to give a super duper big shout out to Erica Alexander. This is a lady who I've highlighted in the past on my podcast. She is really an outspoken activist for reparations. She's hitting it from every angle you can think about. She's coming at it from every angle you can think about and making it known, that we need it, that we deserve it, that it's owed to us, making it really mainstream. She's keeping the conversation going. She's engaging so many types of demographics, so many audiences, and is real unapologetic about it. Because some people, they get involved in it and they try to I don't know how to describe it, they say they want it and then be like, well, it's not you guys' fault, and, but y'all benefited from it. So, she's not straddling the fence. She's telling it how it is and, putting the knowledge out there. But anyway, on to my next section. My next section in the Narrator podcast is my contest section. Now, in this section, what I'm doing is I'm hosting a contest, obviously. That's why it's called the contest section. I'm hosting a contest section titled the Chew on This Contest. And I call it the Chew on This Contest because the prize that I'm giving away is a bulk supply of your favorite snack. And you get it simply by participating in the contest topic. And the contest topic is basically share your most recent shopping while black experience. For that, you'll get a bulk supply of your favorite snack. It's the exact same address that I just gave for the promotional section. The only difference is I'm separating the two by the subject bars. So to enter the contest, you would type in the subject bar, chew on this contest / or dash shopping while black. If you don't want to type the entire word shopping while black, you can type SWB in all caps and I know what you mean. So put it in the subject bar shopping while black / or dash, up to you, shopping while black the entire word or just SWB in all caps. And then in the body of the email, of course, share your most recent shopping while black experience. Then tell me your mailing address so I know where to send your favorite snack. And then, of course, tell me what type of snack you want so I know what type of snack you want to send to you. And again, the reason why I'm doing this section is basically it's an incentive for people that's been supporting me since day one to continue to support me, giving them the opportunity to get something, to entice brand new listeners to tune in to me, and basically just interact with my content. So, it's like listener participation too. It's just showing me, if you enter the contest, it's showing me that you're rocking with me. Because you have to listen to the content, you have to listen to the podcast to enter the contest. So, that's letting me know that you're listening. All right. So, now on to my very first section of the Narrator podcast. This is the highlight section. In this section, what I'm doing is I'm highlighting original people owned and operated businesses. And the purpose of me doing that is to, like I said, the whole purpose of my podcast is to destroy negative stereotypes about us. So the negative stereotype I'm sharing about us is, that we don't have our own businesses and that we don't support one another. So I'm sharing, thriving businesses that are operated by original men or women. And, in addition to that, also, sharing the positive frame of reference of entrepreneurialism, doing for self. And they're usually just tales about people just like you and me, who's working a 9-to-5 job, didn't want to continue to work their 9-to-5 job, wanted to pursue something more, something that they were more passionate about, and stepped out on faith and opened their own business. And that's something we don't see or hear a lot of. We don't have any reality-based television shows about us owning and operating our own businesses, about us taking care of our community, getting out, doing community outreach, giving back. You don't see no reality television shows about that. You just see us like in violence towards one another, calling each other out our names, physically fighting in one another. So, that's what I'm attempting to do in this section is, destroy the negative stereotypes about us in the way of being professionals. Because like the little few shows we do have on the airwaves about, us being our own brand, the violence level, it overshadows it. So it's like, I think it's like Black Ink Crew, it's overshadowed that the plot's overshadowed. It's a black man that owns his own business, but that gets overshadowed by all the, the violence and the ratchetness. And he gives back and does for the community, but that gets overshadowed by the violence and the dysfunction. So this is what I'm attempting to do in my, section of my podcast is to highlight all those attributes, to highlight, the outreach, the giving back, and to also share, I also share the journey with you. So that they took a journey in starting their own business. They stepped out on faith. I'm sharing with you how they came up with the name for their business, about what time, when did their life calling, when did life call out to them to do something different with their life, taking you all throughout the process of their journey of being an entrepreneur, of owning their own businesses, what they encountered along the way, what they had to endure, and, basically from like the beginning stages all the way up into, the entity that they are now. That's what I'm attempting to share with you in this highlight section. And then also some other criteria that I look for in the highlight section is those that, give back to the community, hire their own. Either it's like, many of them are family owned and operated, so that's a positive frame of reference about generational wealth, keeping it in the family. So they have something for future generations. Hiring their own, doing some type of community outreach, helping the community, whether it's children, whether it's our elderly, who's ever disenfranchised or in need, using their business to do that, to give whatever the community needs, financial literacy or whatever. They either like, they pay into a nonprofit organization or they have their very own nonprofit organization. And then the last qualifying factor in my highlight section is that the business line up with my theme. And, so without further ado, I'm jumping right on into the highlight section. So that was the actual perfect segue for my theme. So my theme for this week's highlight section is salad dressing. Yesterday was March 10th. What I do? Check 1, check 2. Okay, I'm still here. So it was March 10th. Yesterday, Friday, March 10th, was National Ranch Salad Dressing. And before I dive into that, I just want to say ranch salad dressing was invented by a brother, an original man by the name of Steve Henderson in 1952. He invented it for Hidden Valley Ranch. So, you can Google the story. It's more complex than that. But like I said, I'm trying to keep, my podcast time efficient. So I'm not going to go into his whole background, how he invented, ranch dressing. But he did invent ranch dressing. And that's kind of what inspired, my highlight section today. Now, my highlight section is super duper brief because, like I said, I try to highlight, businesses that are owned and operated by us. So, like, out of all the stuff that kept popping up, only 2 is organically just all original people owned, like basically black from the top to the bottom, no, side investors and businesses and because a whole lot of them was saying black owned business, but then when you went to the website, you see like a whole bunch of white people in the picture. And so not that I'm racist against Caucasian people or nothing like that. It's just the whole purpose of this section is to put out the positive frame of reference about us doing for ourselves. So, said all that to say, I only got 2 businesses to highlight in the highlight section today. I usually have 3 to 4, but today I only got 2. And so I'll be highlighting 2 businesses, salad dressing businesses. Now I just said yesterday was ranch dressing. Now one of the businesses, they don't have a ranch dressing in their repertoire, but I'll get to that in a second. But first business up is Essie Marie. And that is the proprietor's name is one Miss Atonia Scott. It was established in 2015. The website is www.essieMaries.com. So basically she came up with the idea. She was a cook in her family for many, many years. And then she slowly, over the course of time, started developing salad dressings. Like, it's more complex than that, but again, for time efficiency, her story is on our website at www.essieMaries.com. Like, it tells you, from the top to the bottom, how she came up with the salad dressing recipe. She was originally inspired by her grandmother. She cooked holiday meals with her and, all the nine. She's also very religious. Uh, she is a devout Christian. So, those principles are in place for that company. Yeah, but definitely go check that out and support the sister. Uh, she got a wide selection, everything, every type of salad dressing you could think of. She has it. She also has vinaigrettes as well. Um, she definitely got ranch for sure in her lineup, but definitely go check that out. Essie Marie's salad dressing by Etonia Scott. And give a warm narrative round of applause for Essie Marie's salad dressing and Etonia Scott. And I want to just also apologize too, because I think I might be doubling up on my content, because I think I covered her in like a previous episode, and I might have did another person a few like way back, probably like last year. I'm thinking because the name sounds so familiar. So if you're an avid listener and you're like, hey, you already did that, I might have, because the name sounds really familiar. All right. And so the second one, this person goes by the name, his company goes by the name of G. Hughes, and the proprietor's name is Ira Guy Hughes. That's where the G comes from. And his company was based out of Braceville, Ohio. And the website is www.ghughessugarfree.com. And his story is a little bit more complex. His business really focused on barbecue sauce. So he's just recently expanded his line into the salad dressing game. And all his product is sugar-free. Originally, so by trade, he is a pit master, a barbecue pit master. He had been doing barbecue for many years. He started barbecuing, early on in his youth, and it, has graduated to, the coveted title of pit master. He's won a few competitions, and he decided to start bottling his own sauce. But to his dismay, a whole lot of people couldn't partake in his sauces because of their dietetic needs, so like sugar diabetes and all that. So like his entire line is all sugar free. That's why, hence the title, G. Hughes Sugar Free. And so he's expanded his line. He's come into dressings, and I've scoured it. I was inspired to do this section by National Ranch Salad Dressing Day, but he does not have ranch salad dressing in his, repertoire. And for that matter, both of them don't have any, non-dairy options. So I couldn't partake in either one of them anyway because they don't have any non-dairy options. But still, that doesn't give me the excuse not to share their business just because I personally can't partake. I can like visit the website and buy them for somebody else, you know? And that's, the ideology we have to start using for ourselves. Just because I can't use it or I can't personally benefit from it doesn't mean somebody else can. So just a quick little tidbit. I think that's something we need to strive for as a people. Is just because, you can't personally benefit from it yourself doesn't mean someone else cannot. So yeah, he was originally a barbecue pit master, and he developed his own line of barbecue sauces, and he has just recently expanded his line by adding salad dressings to it. Most of the salad dressings are vinaigrettes. He got, I think he got some cream-based salad dressings. I think he got like Thousand Island and poppy seed and something else, or Dijon. So he got some cream based ones too, but just no ranch. But definitely go support the G Hughes brand and Mr. Ira Guy Hughes. So give a warm Narrative podcast round of applause for his brand. And now for the spotlight of the day. The spotlight of the day or the spotlight section, I said spotlight of the day. The spotlight section of the Narrative podcast. The spotlight section, this section is a section in which I'm giving a prominent figure within our community their roses while they're here. And in this section, excuse me, got a little distracted. Giving a prominent figure their roses while they're here. And in this section, I focus on the entertainment industry and the religious industry, and people who are public figures, anybody in the eye of the public occupying a public platform. That's just me giving them the roses while they're here, saying something nice about them, appreciating what they bring to the table, and how they carry and conduct themselves, showcasing us in a positive light, some type of attribute. Whether it's through their philanthropy, their giving back, definitely if they use their platform to speak on our cause unapologetically, speak on what it means to be us in America and abroad, and speak on behalf of our people, be a voice for the voiceless, giving back, doing philanthropy, just basically doing the work. And this is me acknowledging that in this section. And then also creating the trend of saying something nice about your brother or your sister. Because we've been programmed and conditioned into believing to get the bag, we have to rake each other through the coals. We have to say something negative. We have to say something real mean and unscrupulous about another original person, like a brother or a sister. Like, we got to go back and forth with each other online. That's the energy right now. And we're the only people to do that. You don't see two Irish people doing that online. You don't see two people from the Asian community doing that. You don't see two people from the Spanish community doing that, going back and forth online in each other's, like, you know, putting like nasty comments on, you know, Instagram or Twitter or wherever, going back and forth online. Just us. We're the only people to do it. So I wanted to create, you know, some positive energy. Just create the healthy habit of saying something nice about your brother or your sister, and I think I've been accomplished it very, very well, because since I've added the spotlight section to my podcast, the Narrator podcast, I'm seeing tidal waves of spotlights everywhere online. Because before I started doing the spotlight section on my podcast, nobody anywhere online, on television, on wherever, on YouTube, on whatever platform you can think of, had a spotlight section. Now all of a sudden, everybody got a spotlight section. Today's spotlight section will be spotlighting this person. We'll be spotlighting that person. Nobody was spotlighting anybody until, like, I have the spotlight section to my podcast. So, you know, my numbers might not reflect it, but obviously people are listening to me. Obviously I'm making an impact, I'm making a wave, I'm sending shock waves through this little internet, being observed. You know, I might not be referenced, but I'm definitely observed because so many people are doing it. So somebody's paying attention to me. So I gotta clap it up for myself.
Is changing the narrative one episode at a time.
In a real way. All right. So, without any further ado, I'm diving into the spotlight section. And today, the person occupying the spotlight on the Narrative Podcast is none other than comedian, actor, entertainer, children's advocate, cartoon voiceover, writer, producer, 90s staple, iconic, legend, none other than Mr. Kel Mitchell. Born Kel Jahari Mitchell, 1978, in Chicago, Illinois, South Side. He attended Chicago Vocational High School and took drama classes at the ETA. So we already know about his background. He's done like tons of ads before he got his big break with the Nickelodeon studios, and then after he hit their All That cast, it was a wrap, pretty much Hollywood-wise. From the All That, you know, we went to the Good Burger, which was a skit from All That. Then him and another guy that he was in a whole lot of skits with on All That had, you know, they had such good chemistry. Nickelodeon gave them their own show, the Kenan and Kel Show. And after the Kenan and Kel Show, you know, of course, was or it might have been in between that pocket, but the Good Burger movie, Kenan and Kel. Then they also had reoccurring roles on the Steve Harvey Show. Whole lot of other films as the duo Kenan and Kel. I think Rocky and Bullwinkle movie, they made a live action movie, they made a cameo. And then eventually, you know, like all things through time. They went their separate ways, and he was focusing just on his career. Kel or Keenan was focusing on his career. So he's Mr. Saturday Night Live and all that, and all his accomplishments he's had, and all the movies he's been in, and Kel's been, working too. So like working, doing writing, doing producing. He's been in a whole lot of, straight to home video movies, like that type of caliber, but still like on a grand scale, writing and producing in the grand scheme of things. So, the reason why I'm giving him the spotlight on the Narrator podcast is just, all the stuff he does behind the cameras. Like he is pro youth. And like that old Muhammad Ali song, "The children are our future," and he goes out of his way to make sure our future is bright. He was going down a dark path sometime within his career, and then he turned his life around, got focused through his faith that he practices, Christianity. He's become a youth pastor. And then also, a spokesperson for a college foundation. And then he's just always like giving back, doing something charitable, something noble, and being an example, just being a solution, like, using his craft to inspire, help, and motivate the youth, especially, coming from Chicago, because anybody that makes it out of there, whether it's the south side, north side, east side, or the west side, I give them I got a tremendous level of respect for them, because Chicago is rough, Jack. That's a rough little city, man. Anybody comes up out of that and manages to like move forward in life at a big level, that's something special. If you come out of that environment, because that's some rough stuff. And darn Chicago, it is not, nobody's free. I mean, so it's culturally, they got a whole lot of good culture stuff. Culturally, the food and the sights, and of course the athletics, the basketball and the baseball, but the city in general is dangerous, man. Chicago's dangerous. So anybody comes up out that situation, it's something special about them. But anyway, so that's what I admire about him. I'm not going to go through every single television show or, animated cartoon series where he's lent his voice or, all that. I just want to just tell you, like I tell like all the people I spotlight, just what I appreciate about them and what they bring to the table. And so, like, I think I did a good job with that. I appreciate that, he goes out of his way to attend to our youth and, gives them a space and a platform to express themselves and, help explore themselves through their religion, Christianity, because I think, that's a really difficult religion and you can get lost really easily in that. So having somebody with his, his grooming and the levity he has about just life in general. So that's a good positive plus to have somebody like him be their guide through that, to guide them through that. And outstanding talent, writer, producer, rap, dance, like all kinds of stuff. So all kinds of talented. So give a warm Narrative podcast round of applause to Mr. Kel Mitchell. Oh yeah, I forgot his date of birth was 1978, didn't I? Yeah, I think I forgot that. He's a 70s baby. So looking great at 44. Hardly tell, like, his birthday's in August. Yeah. Age ain't caught up with him yet. These days, like, guys be looking over the hill in their 30s. Seen a picture of him and his son online. He's 20. Like, he couldn't tell who's the father and who's the son. So whatever he's doing, it's working. All right, on to my next section. This section is the health and wellness section. And in this section, what I'm doing is, I'm promoting total body wellness, physically, mentally, and spiritually. These are all the primary areas that we are being attacked as a people. And like I said repeatedly throughout my podcast, my content is for anybody to enjoy, anybody to partake in. If you can get something out of, my message, I'm glad you can get something out of my message, that I'm speaking to you on some capacity, some level. But all my content is mostly aimed toward my people. So in the health and wellness section, any like health tips and health and wellness tips is like from our experience that we need, because, contrary to our belief, like that's a misnomer we like to say, a pacifist misnomer. We just like, we're all human beings. We all bleed the same blood, and we're all one, and we're all equal. And that is true to a certain capacity, but internally, no, we are not. There's certain dietetic things that I can have within my diet that you cannot. Culturally, certain things culturally that certain people can do that I can't do, like weather and climate. Like, I'm not meant to withstand cold weather, and like other people are not meant to withstand tropical weather culturally. So we're not the same. So anyway, like I said, the media, they weaponize this media against us. What they're attempting to do is trying to alter the perception of us towards other people, trying to, make them see us a certain way and make them believe that we are a certain way and we are not. And then also to us, to make us see and view ourselves a certain way, and to accept things a certain way about us, and, normalize things that are not normal. And we do it all the time within our culture. We just be like, you hood or you're black when you da-da-da-da-da, like just accepting things that's normal that's not normal. Like, it's not normal to eat tin can meals, like just stuff that comes out of a tin can for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That's not normal. That's something that we've normalized in our culture. It's not normal to have to dine on supplemental meals. Like, if what a supplemental meal is, like commodities is commonly called commodities. Like they go to this place, we've seen it, like powdered milk, powdered eggs, government cheese. We say government, but a long time ago, the government, like during the Reagan era, his big idea was to give away cheese logs, blocks of cheese to the hungry people. And that was something, a theme that's still relevant today within our community. The blocks of cheese, government cheese, government, we say government. The government issued cheese, that's not normal. But anyway, the point that I'm getting at, I don't mean to trail off, is, we normalize things that aren't normal. We perceive ourselves a certain way that we're programmed to perceive ourselves as. And what this does is this, like, disrupts and disorients our psyche. It resonates in our subconscious a negative way. All that negativity is directly rooted to your immune system, and like all this negativity that you're bombarded with, disrupts and distorts your immune system. Like, what I mean is it weakens it. So, it's an inherent plot to do that. And not only that, with the media conditioning and programming, they're putting stuff in our air, in our food, in our water, in common household products that we use every single day that has negative, adverse side effects on our unique genetic makeup. And so we need to be, armoring up for that, building our tolerance levels and our immune systems, to combat these things that we're subject to. So physically, mentally, and spiritually, these are the types of tips that I give you to, navigate through these things, these obstacles that are thrown at us. So some types of things you will hear in this section, like the health benefits of, something you can eat or use topically. Something you can eat or ingest or use topically, like the health benefits of a fruit, vegetable, herb, plant, elixir, etc. Physical exercises you can do to maintain your total body health. Mental things you can do, mindfulness to stay in a sense of mental clarity, mental alertness, so that you don't succumb to any of the diseases. Spiritual things, guard your spirits, because yes, you can be spiritually attacked, and yes, we are being spiritually attacked. So I give out tips about that. And then I might even talk about, metaphysical stuff sometimes from time to time in this section. Metaphysical principles and concepts of law and, the natural order of things, the natural, like, universal law and properties and such. But today is a, health benefit day. And since I started out on a health kick with the salad dressing, I thought it only be fitting to, tell about something that is like a superfood for our people. And today's health and wellness tip is the health benefits of kale. So kale, or the wild cabbage, as it's referred to sometimes, it comes in a variety. It can be green or purple. The leaves are curly. They are rich in potassium. Potassium helps maintain levels of levels of fluid in our cells. So like, everything on the cellular level that's like moving fluids throughout the body. Basically just keep your levels up, keep your levels perfectly balanced. That's the use of potassium, and you need that. Also, vitamin K, rich in vitamin K, rich in vitamin C, rich in vitamin A, and vitamin K, that's critical for blood clotting. Vitamin A, that's your vision, your growth, your reproductive functions, and your immune system. Also rich in riboflavin. B6 is for the brain function. Magnesium, it helps the body's connective tissue, so like your cartilage, everything, all your joints and stuff. That's what the magnesium is for. Riboflavin, that's your energy production and helps break down fats and grows your cells. Iron is for your blood cells. So all that from kale and pretty much all leafy green. But the biggest thing is the green. It's a green. The green variety is rich in chlorophyll. So chlorophyll, for our people, for us original people, that supercharges your melanin. So we need it, like we're the only beings on the planet that mimic the photosynthesis of plants. That's the way we absorb energy. Like we get stronger in the sunlight, our hair grows longer, our skin gets better, we're more vibrant, we're more energetic in the sunlight. That's why when you go down south or any place where it's warm and sunny all the time, down south or on the west coast, the vibe is different. That's why, because it's warm and sunny all the time. We absorb that sunlight, just like plants. Many of our hairstyles resemble plants. The way our hair naturally grows kind of resembles plants. But anyway, definitely get you some kale in your life, or really any leafy green vegetable, but kale most definitely. It's a renewable source of energy. It's very easy to grow. You can eat it on the go. You don't have to put a piece of fat in it. You don't have to put a piece of animal fat to flavor it. You don't have to drown it in like broth. Like we don't have to slow cook and simmer it like we do our greens or collard greens. We don't have to. We can just eat it just like that, up out of the earth. We can wash it off. Now it is a little chewy, a little almost rubbery, the texture wise, but in the taste, like in its natural state, is bitter. But we're living to eat. We're not. We're eating to live, not living to eat. So that's what we got to start practicing. Eat to live, not live to eat. Myself included, definitely myself included, because I'm really ODing on the snacks right now. So got to cut back. But that's been the health benefits of kale. That'll do it for the health and wellness section of the Narrator podcast, and on to my next section. My next section is the speaking point. And my speaking point is basically where I'm addressing current events, things that are currently circulating and generating in the media, hot button issues, current breaking news. And I do this to, unpack it from our perspective, like whatever's going on, because the media, how they unroll or unveil a story, they have us looking and sounding all kinds of crazy. And I put it, plainly, or I'm attempting to put it plainly and break it down from our perspective and what that means to us and what that says about us as a people, and try to cut back on the division and cut back on all the divisiveness that, that they try to do and try to spin it and flip it and move it into whatever direction they want it to move it into. And, that's my attempt to just basically make it plain and relatable and digestible. But in the event that I don't have any current news to speak on, sometimes I'll just hit you with a PSA about our people, something that I observe we need to work on, and by we, I mean myself as well. And yeah, but today I do have some breaking news to speak on, and speak on it I shall. So it's like a couple little elephants in the room I got to address. But allow me to just take a brief pause for a second. Yes, I had to take a little brief pause for the cause, but now I am back. But anyway, what I was saying is, in the speaking points, it's about, current news. I got a couple things to unpack. One is a very, very polarizing elephant in the room, but the other one not so much. So let's talk about it. In a second. It's about Kevin Hart. So most recently his tour got canceled. And he was supposed to go into Egypt to do a show. And then, months prior, he had made a statement about Egypt. And, they responded by saying, quit trying to blackwash our culture, basically saying, blacks were not the original Egyptians. But he was saying, our, ancestry did not begin with slavery. Let's teach our children about a time where we were kings and queens. Let's throw it back to there. And this is kind of one of them things where they're both kind of right. So Kevin's definitely right because, our ancestry did not begin with kings and queens, or begin with slavery, and that we were and are the original Egyptians. Well, we were and are the original everything, because there's not one corner of the globe we didn't originally inhabit. But to a degree, they're kind of right, because we're not the original Egyptians, because Egypt wasn't originally called Egypt. It was originally called Kemet. They started calling it Egypt, but we was already indigenously located there. So, To each their own. They got outraged over that and canceled his tour behind the comments. I salute him for not apologizing and not backing down. Like, that's a bag you didn't need. It sucks that Egypt has to suffer for that and don't get to enjoy your brand of comedy, because obviously the people that lived there wanted to see you for you to even get invited in the first place. But, it's that whole lot, taking things out of context to fit their narrative, basically trying to rewrite our history and tell what they want to tell about it. This is why they shot the noses off the Sphinx. This is why, they make these little Hollywood movies. The Ten Commandments, no black people in that. The gods of Egypt, no black people, original people in that. This is just a sad attempt to rewrite our history. It's so rich and so, powerful. People want to lay, people that don't have anything to do with it want to lay claim to it. But that's something I often talk about on my platform as well. The original people, people's true nature. So by them canceling his tour, they're showing their true nature. The nature of who they truly are as a people. Evil, deceitful, wicked. Versus who we are originally as a people. So you see, he didn't get angry. You didn't see him throwing some dirt on them or calling them devils or whatever. Because that's not the original nature of our people. The original nature of our people is love, understanding, knowledge, enlightenment. We take our time with things, we examine things, we're naturally scientists, we're naturally scholastic, so we don't waste time arguing and debating and having frivolous conversations about nothing. And he went on and didn't have a frivolous conversation about anything. He hasn't addressed it in the media. It's like, oh, well, on to the next bag. But, yet again, an original man telling the truth and damn near getting canceled for it. All right, so that was the first elephant in the room to unpack. And, on to the next one. And when I say it, it's going to be like, well, why didn't you lead off with that one? I didn't lead off with that one because I'm really kind of sick and tired of talking about it. But it's just not going to go away. And I was struggling with covering it because I already covered it when it happened, but it's not going to go away, and it's just the whole thing now. So, if you don't know by now, Chris Rock did a Netflix special where he finally addressed the slap. And so many people are outraged about his response. And in classic fashion, classic social media fashion, our community is divided because of it. Got a whole bunch. One side is like, he's living his truth. He's telling his truth. He got, embarrassed in front of the nation, and he couldn't do nothing about it. A guy walked up to him and slapped him, and he didn't resort into fisticuffs with Will Smith, and he didn't retaliate physically against him, and he didn't talk about it for a whole year, and he got, chumped out and made to look like a sucker in front of all them people, yada, 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 yada. So he getting his justice. He's getting his justice on, within the parameters of his craft, which is stand-up comedy. So justice for Chris, that's one half saying he's getting his justice, he's getting his day, he's having his say. That's one side of us. And then the other side of us is like, okay, I get it, but he's taking it way too far. He didn't have to call Jada all kind of B words. He didn't have to bring the Smith children into it. He didn't da-da-da-da. I haven't really seen the whole special in its entirety. I've only seen the snippets that have been circulating around. I haven't sat down and watched it. I may do a part 2 on it, but for today, this week, I said May, so don't quote me on that, but I just want to be having like full context of it, because I don't promote, endorse gossip on my platform, and this is kind of what this has turned into, a big like social media gossip section. It's some new water cooler talk. Like as if the smack when it happened wasn't bad enough. See, when it first happened, I didn't choose a side. I kind of am where I'm standing now. It's like I didn't care. But as it's unfolding and, more is coming out of it, from me, from my perspective, just from me, the way I'm looking at it now, I'm thinking, because initially when it happened, I could care less. Like, it's some Hollywood stuff. It's some people I'm probably never going to meet or see in my life. It was some messy stuff. But to me now, looking back at when the event happened and the way it's unfolding now, I'm going to have to call BS. Because my biggest pet peeve is when people insult my intelligence, and I'm starting to find this whole thing very insulting. And what you got to remember is Will Smith is an actor. Chris Rock is an actor. Jada Pinkett Smith is an actress. And I believe it was all an act. A really, really convoluted act. Why were they playing out the act? Why such extremes? To generate views, to cement their brands. Because before the smack, Will Smith had, tons of projects getting canceled. Before the smack, Jada Pinkett Smith, the success of the Red Table Talk wasn't really hitting its numbers. Before the smack, Chris Rock, he was, his numbers was kind of slight. He wasn't suffering, like financially, but it wasn't, at the level of when he was at his peak when he had the Chris Rock show either. And so what happens in a situation like that? You pour gasoline on top of it. You stir the pot. You create some news. This is what they do. They create instances like this to keep us divided and keep us distracted. They cause, it's like classical divide and conquer at its finest. And so while we're sitting up here, riffing about, one side, he was justified, the other side, he took it too far. This is going to go on for the rest of this month and probably the first week of April. And I guarantee you, while people are sitting up online talking about this, stuff's going to be happening in the nation that we need to be focusing on and paying attention to in direct concern of our people, of us, that we need to be worrying about. So something like that, or something ecological that every human being on the planet needs to be worrying about. That's what's going to be happening while people are sitting up there, online worrying about, Chris and Will. They both straight, they both alright. They're going to be alright. And another thing that you got to look at, why it makes me react and believe it's all a charade, is, neither one of them is now commenting on it. Now it's, their press agents is releasing statements. So when the press agents on both sides release statements, not the actual people, it's generated. These are generated responses. This is like who's ever handling Will, because they're both entertainers, who's ever handling the brand that is Will Smith is talking for Will Smith. Whoever is handling the brand that is Chris Rock is speaking for Chris Rock. You understand what I'm saying? Like, now it's corporate entities acting as individuals, like representing the individual parties, these entities that, are handling their brand. And it's like good for their brand. This is what they do. They create illusions to make us believe things that are real. Another thing was when Tony Rock, said what he said. That's his brother. But here's the thing, Tony Rock was on a sitcom produced by Will Smith. He gets on stage, says what he says, but Tony Rock is an actor too. Tony Rock's an entertainer too. He sit up there and said what he says at an event that he knows Will Smith ain't going to be at. Why would he be at an event hosted by Samora? She's not even a top tier comedian. I mean, in ways of talent, but like top billing, like sold out shows, bookings and all that. No. Talent-wise, yes. Talent-wise, she's funny. She will have you crying, but like, let's be real. But this is what they do. They cause division. They stir the pot. They get us fighting amongst ourselves. And the whole time, they're sitting up their little piece on the board to make the next move. That's what they do. And we take the bait every single time. So when it first happened, I seen a whole lot of memes circulating about it. But the meme that made the most sense that I saw was a meme with the caption, I went on the internet, I Googled Chris Rock's net worth, then I Googled Will Smith's net worth, and then I looked at my own personal finances and I made the decision to, mind my own business. Like, that's not the direct quote, but it's like kind of the gist of what they were saying. Like, it is what it is, say less. But it ain't nothing but a distraction, man. It's fake. It's a sham. Cause you know what else is like? I don't doubt it really smacked him, but I believe it's contrived. Cause you know who else like really hits people, but it's all in that too. Is pro wrestling. Like they really be punching each other. They really be slamming each other. They really hit people with folding steel folding chairs. Like it really hurts. But they do a run through. Like they really draw real blood when they're wrestling. But it's illustrated. It's an act at the end of the day. Like they really be having stitches and all that after the wrestling event's over. But then they'll go and grab a cold one and be laughing and ha ha ha. Like, oh man, you caught me too hard on that one. And they be sharing their little war wounds and like, oh, well, look what you did to me. And so, like, I think that's how this is going to play out. And like 7 months from now, when everybody's done talking about it, you're going to see the entire Rock family and the entire Smith family get together a moment and be giggling and kikiing like, nothing. And then probably about 3-4 years down the line, they'll probably come out and say, yeah, we scammed the whole thing, like when the time is appropriate. But I'm calling BS on it. I don't believe none of it. And I definitely ain't worried about it. I think it's a big distraction and we don't need to be using our social media platforms weighing in on it. The only reason why I'm using my social media platform to weigh in on it is to point out the inconsistencies and to point out, how divisive it is within our community. That's all I'm doing, using it to just illustrate my point that I'm making about being distracted. But as the youngsters say, that situation, it ain't real rap. It ain't. So, on to my very last section of the Narrator podcast. This section is called My Final Thought or Final Word. And this is like, a word or a phrase to resonate with you, to resonate with you, just something you can look back on and just reflect on, reflective, something profound, a gem, a pearl of wisdom, what have you. Just something to, ponder about. So my final thought or final word of the day is don't get comfortable. And when I say that, I mean like don't get complicit of your life the way it is now, of everything going on the way it is now. Because everything changes in life. All your relationships, all your dealings, all your transactions, the way you feel about yourself, the way you feel about others, change. That's what we're here on this planet to do, is to change. If you're still the same after 20, 30, 40 years ago, it's a problem. That means you're not growing. But everything changes, like people flip up on you, like blood relatives, just out the blue one day, just stop talking to you. Or you might be the blood relative that just up out the blue stop talking to people. But point being, everything changes. Don't get complicit in the way things are, especially in finances. If you got a stream of income coming from somewhere, don't get comfortable thinking like that's going to be, you're going to just always pull from that resource. You have to have multiple streams. Don't get complicit in social settings, like I just said, like family and friends. Family and friends change up on you. Like, friends, like, You know, you're really fortunate if you're still friends with a person that you've been friends with since kindergarten, and you're a full grown adult, and y'all still speak to each other and go to each other's family functions. That's really something. But it will eventually change. Blood relatives, y'all's relationships will eventually change. Um, so if you're in the 9 to 5 gig in it, that definitely changes. If you're an entrepreneur, for sure changes, because you don't know, you're living day, you're living day to day. You don't know what's going to happen. But whatever happens, don't get complicit on the things that happen to you. Don't get comfortable. Don't get lax. You know, just always be waiting for the curveball. Expect the curveball. It's going to be a curve. So don't get complicit. Keep your eyes out for the change. Change is going to happen. But definitely do not get complicit in your surroundings or anything that's happening in your life, because it will change. The change is coming. So, you know, you can't, like, it might happen, it might be a slow build up to the change, or it might be instantaneously, but the change is definitely imminent. So don't get complicit. Don't get comfortable about whatever you got going on. Like, even with, the most cliche thing is when people get married, till death do you part. You know, when it starts out, it's good and it's cute, but then 6 months into it, like, oh wow. A year into it, oh man. 2 years into it, you know. Many are called, few are chosen. Some people can do the long run to 50 years. You know, some people is like, nah, on year one, you know. But don't get complicit. So that's been it for another episode of the Narrator Podcast. And I'm going to conclude it here. I broadcast every single weekend. Please join me next weekend for another edition of the Narrator Podcast. Now, I did not go live during the week. I go live during the weekdays. I already told you why I didn't go live during the weekday. I'm going to most definitely go live this week for sure. So tune in. Tune in regularly so you don't miss me when I'm live. And a good way not to miss me when I go live is follow me on social media, my YouTube, Halsey Allen, YouTube. Hit the subscribe to my channel, hit the notification bell. This platform broadcasts directly to my YouTube when I'm live on it. It also broadcasts directly to my Twitter when I'm live on it. So YouTube or Twitter, Halsey Allen on both, and you won't miss me when I'm live. But I like clockwork. Every single weekend, we'll go and do a full broadcast of the Narrator Podcast. So yeah, join me this weekend for another full episode. Also support my personal poetry blog. It's called Hallzies Poetry Corner, and the address is at www.mrhallziesblogs.com. And the way you support it is by going to that link and sharing one or all my poems for Hallzies Poetry Corner to your social media platforms. And then lastly, my book I've written, it is titled The Black Card, and it's available at Poetizer.com, inside their bookstore at Poetizer.com, and it's titled The Black Card. So go there and purchase you a copy of it today. It's a 30-page book of poetry. It's really indicative of, our experience as original people here in America. Very profound poems. You will love them. It's very reflective of who we are as a people culturally, and you will love it. So go purchase it right now. The Black Card. If you don't purchase it, you might get your Black Card revoked. But anyway, that'll do it. That's it, and that's all, y'all. I'm out of here like last year. This is Halsey Allen signing off. I'm changing the narrative one episode at a time. I'm encouraging you to change the narrative one social media post at a time. Till next time, Halsey Allen in the Narrative Podcast signing off. And it's like that.